Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the replace values. This is fairly a simple topic. So let's go to the Power Query screen and see how can we replace these values. So I'm working on a data set, and let's say if there are some certain values in your data set that you want to replace with some other kind of values. For example, if I come to this data set, I have the restaurant ID, I have the names over here, and the rating of that specific restaurant. Now, let's say this name contains some characters that I want to replace it with some other thing. For example, this 28th record, I have this and symbol in between. Let's say if I want to write the text as A and D and. Also, if I go down and see at the other record, I have got again this and character over here, and this might then occur some more times in the specific data set. But I want it to specify as A and D instead of this and symbol. So what should I do? How can I replace this value? For that, whenever you want to replace any value, you have to select that particular column, and then you can right click over here and select replace values. After you have selected replace values, it would ask you what values do you want to find. So I can specify the character as and it would ask with what value do you want to replace it. So I will type end, and it is also giving me an option of this advanced options. So if I click over here, it would ask me match entire cell content or match or replace using the special characters. If you want to replace it using the special characters, so you don't have to use it for now. Then after clicking on OK, it would find all the and values in your dataset and replace it with the text A and D and. So if I again go to the record 28, you can see this character has been replaced, and also on the value 50. So over here in the 50th record, again I have got this and. So this is how you can replace the values. Now let's say if you want to replace the values from multiple columns, again the steps would be same. So you would have to select all the columns that you want to replace the values in, right click and choose this replace options. So replace values option you can choose from over here, and you can give any value to find, and with whatever value you want to replace the data. Now, sometimes what can happen is that you might be having some errors in your data set. For example, if you go in this view option and if you select this column quality option, you will see that right now all the columns are valid. There are no errors and no empty records for now. But if you are dealing with a large and wide data set, sometimes there can be few errors. After rectifying those errors, if you want to replace the errors with some kind of value, let's say if you don't want to see the errors and if you want to replace it with even null values, for an example. So in that case, what you can do is you can go on the top of any column, right click, and over here I have this replace errors option. After you click on it, it would ask you that with what value do you want to replace those errors. So you can simply type any value that you want to replace it with. For now, let's say I want to replace it with null, and you can click on OK. And if there would be any kind of errors in your dataset, it would replace it with null values. Now, sometimes you would be dealing with some certain cases where you have to replace the values, but it won't make sense to replace the values. For example, let's say I have this ratings column over here. Now this ratings value is from 1 to 10. So all the restaurants that are over here have some values of ratings, for example, 2, 3, 4, and this goes all the way up till 10. Now I have got this scenario where this data is fairly skewed. That means that if any person doesn't like the restaurant, they give a fairly low rating. And if someone likes a restaurant, they give fairly high rating. Now, I don't want the values to be ranging from 1 to 10. Instead of that, I want to bring the range down to 1 to 5. Now, in that case, what I can do is I know that I have these certain numbers over here. And if I want to bring that range down to half, in that case, what should I do is I need to replace these values. For example, wherever I see 2, I should bring it down to 1. Wherever I see 4, I should bring it down to 2. So in that case, one of the things that can be done over here is you can right click and you can use this replace values option, and you can tell it like wherever you find 5, you have to replace that value with 2.5. And as you can see, the record 14th is having this value 5, and it would replace that value 5 with 2.5. So the values has been replaced. Now again, you need to do it for every record that is present over here. Now let's say if there were too many records over here, replacing each value wouldn't make any sense. So in that case, what you can do is, first of all, I will just remove this step. So in that case, what you do is you can go in the add column option, and over here you can choose this custom column option. And over here, you can easily give it any formula that I want to replace this ratings with half. So for example, if you want to trim down this rating, you can simply write it rating into 0.5, and it would make that rating into half. So again, I'll click on OK, and it would bring down the value to half of it. Now these values would be ranging from 1 to 5. So in this ways, you can replace a certain values also, you can replace some errors also. And if you have multiple replacement options, you can create some custom columns for that. And when we will be looking at the M code, you can also use the M code to replace some certain values based on a specific condition. This was all for this session. Thank you.